Well, with temperatures in the 80s lately, it is feeling a lot like summer. And there is no time like the present to get your summer plans in order. Before you do, if you're divorced, working out the calendar for summer visitation is a must. Family law specialist Bud Kluick and child psychoanalyst Dr. Keith Canner joining us. And happy St. Patty's Day to both of you.
You too.
Same to you. You're looking marvelous.
I'm looking very green, and I love the green tie.
Well, lawyers, Renee, are not that well known for taking fashion chances, so this is about as colorful as I get. On St. Patrick's Day, we roll out the green tie. That's about as colorful. Essentially, in the male part of the Bar Association, it's like dark suits. That's about as fashion.
That's as far as the risk you take.
Yeah, right.
Talking about summertime, it seems like it's far away, and we're going to talk about some of the stresses that it can affect the kids and the entire family. What do we need to know about just getting things all prepped and ready, because summer's going to be here like that? Well,
if you want, the key point is that if you want to change what the current orders are for the summertime, Renee, now is the time to get started, because you will have to file a motion to modify the orders, and right now it'll have to be filed, I would think, to have a realistic chance to have the judge make a decision and have orders in place for the summer. Different orders, modified orders, changed orders. To have that in place by the summer, you'll have to have your request for that, or it's called a motion, on file at the court by the end of March. So you have to get started now. We're in mid-March, St. Patrick's Day, and now's the time to get the attorney, hire the attorney, file the motion next week perhaps, or at least by March 31st. And that way the timing is set up so that by the time the children get out of school in mid-June, the task will be accomplished and you'll have some good orders more to your liking.
The steps to take, you sort of outlined some of them, but if people really are very new to the process, what are the things that can be done right now?
Well, you'll need to get an attorney, and then they file a motion on your behalf which says tells the court officially what it is you want and why it is you want it. And then you're assigned to a mediation at what's known as family court services within the courthouse. They don't make a decision, but they try to get the two of you to come to an agreement. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes not. About 40% of the time it's only successful, 60% not. But my point is, you need to have a strategy when you roll in there. And if you work with an experienced attorney, a specialist, and if that person knows what they're doing, they will help you develop a strategy that will be, if you want to use the term, winning strategy, or will maximize the likelihood that you'll get what you want when you go through mediation. Then there's a court hearing, and then after the court hearing you have to put what the judge decided into formal court orders, and that process takes about 2.5 months, so now's the time to do it.
There's a few differences between the summer visitation and the school year, and we'll address that with you, Dr. Kenner, that how that can, that yo-yo, that can really cause some disruption in the family.
Yes, often the summer visitation is entirely different. The usual pattern, Renee, is that one parent will have the kids for most of the school days. So there's one parent in charge of the homework and stuff like that. So it's less chaotic for the kids. And in terms of child development, that's what's favored. However, when you're not going to school, it's usually a very different visitation schedule. And very often, and particularly if you're dealing with out-of-state, they fly back to Michigan where dad is, or fly to Oregon where mom is, and they spend most of the summer in a different household. Yeah. And there obviously are issues involved with that.
Well, Dr. Canner, talk about how that can really, just stress out not just the child, but the entire family.
It does, and it represents such a huge transition from whatever the school year plan was, oftentimes, unless the parents are both in town and they maintain the same custody schedule. So we're always looking for consistency with kids. Always, and they get used to a routine. So during the school year, there may be a routine that's going to change when summer comes in. You've got to prepare your kids ahead of time for that and work as amicably as you can with that person, because you got to think about this isn't about you two, it's about your kids. And so the further in advance that you work on this and get it planned out and prepare your kids for it by having a nice schedule written out for them, their adaptation will be much, much better, and you'll have a better summer.
You talked before about never bad-mouthing the ex in front of the kids, because that's very important legally and emotionally. What other things can we do to help our kids have as smooth a transition as possible?
Well, aside from not throwing your ex under the bus, you want to actually be supportive to what they're doing with your kids, okay? Because again, you got to look out for your children, and irrespective of your differences with your ex, you had kids together, and you've got to make those kids the most important part of their life and your life. So you never say anything negative about them, and you actually talk about positive things that they're going to do that summer, so the kids then don't feel like, oh my gosh, are your feelings going to be hurt if I go with mom or dad? Because you don't want them to feel bad and to worry about you. So you've got to support them and what they do. And, you know, that's going to make your relationship with your ex a whole lot better, too.
Good.
Keith was saying off camera when we were discussing this that it's probably a good idea to take a toy back and forth, or maybe even an animal back and forth between the two households.
We call these transitional objects, and most kids have whether it's a blanket or a teddy bear, usually early in their life. Oftentimes we'll see when kids go through divorce, they pick up a new one, and it's one that travels from house to house. And what it does for kids, which is very important, is it keeps that continuity of the intact family together.
Thank you.
So it makes it easier for them. So like if they're at dad's house and they've got that animal that was at mom's house, maybe it smells like mom, or it smells like something there, they take it back and forth, and that really helps. So if they want one, get them one and have a backup just in case they lose it.
Like a whoopee from Mr.
Absolutely,
Mom.
and it's okay.
And you have a special offer today.
There you go. If you call us and mention San Diego Living or Channel 6 or something like that, the first hour we do for you on a law case, not if we're preparing documents for you like a prenup, but if it's an actual case, Smith versus Jones, or Adam, my area would be Adam versus Eve. If there's that kind of a case where we're likely or possibly to go to court, the first hour will be free. We'll no charge you for the first hour that we work for you. First hour of attorney's
And that's not just on St. Patrick's Day.
No.
Bud Kluig and Keith Kanter, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And
it's our pleasure.
Start that summer visitation process right now.
Talk to your kids
and
about
kids, they're the number one.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, guys.